During a high school class project, my teacher told me it's unrealistic being a CEO. It's been my dream to be a CEO since I was 10, so I told her it is realistic. Follow me on my journey to learn what it takes to become a CEO. Welcome to another episode of the Realistic CEO podcast. Today I'm here with Shannon Rudder. How are you doing today, Shannon?
I'm great. I'm here with you.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Thank you. So the first question that I want to ask you is, can you tell us a little bit about what you do here at MLK?
Oh, wow. So is the question what I do or what MLK Family Services does?
Both. What you do and what this, yeah.
Okay. So I am gearing up in about a couple months to celebrate my second year work anniversary. And it's been really an exhilarating ride for me to be stepping into what I see as like such rich leadership, like a cornerstone community and community organization. And so for me, I nerd out a little bit on like business development and some of the like structure pieces of nonprofit work. I've always been drawn to nonprofit work, particularly missions that are important to me, of which social justice and equity is important to me, and making sure that we're meeting people on their journey and helping to provide access to services and support and programs that they need is really important to me. And so for me personally, with my business training, I think that it's been really powerful for me to marriage causes that are really important to me that I stand with and my formal training, if you will. So knowing that MLK Family Services has been around for over 4 decades, for me, I think about and making impact, like generational impact. You played here when you were a kid, so it invested in you and other families. And so for me, it's really important that I bring that business acumen to make sure that this organization is around for generations to come. So yeah, some of what I do and what MLK is in the community.
Can you tell us a little bit about your journey to how you got to where you are today?
Oh gosh. Okay. So I'm born and raised in Buffalo, New York. And for me, I was the kid that I would say growing up was always steeped in social justice, right? Like I never had the boy band posters on my wall. I had Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. King. I had the indigenous commandments about how you really like show up in community and honor, have empathy for people's lived experience. And I think that sort of is the seed that was planted in me by my grandmother, by my family, and just watered over the years. That said to me, I will probably be leading and contributing to my community, whatever community that is, through nonprofit work. And so my career literally was in nonprofit. I've only done nonprofit work at different roles, different levels of, I started as an executive assistant when my oldest daughter, who's now 25, was a baby, and didn't know what would be my forecasted future. But I think from there, I just gleaned. I'm a perpetual learner. So I just studied under some awesome leaders and found my way into fundraising and development. Found my way then into my first time ever being an executive director when I came to Western Mass 10 years ago, and learned that it is lonely at the top, but quickly put together other local executives so that I could, again, learn like from their experience. And so really, I just think what's important for me is that I am just building upon all of the experiences that I gained along the way, all the networks that I build along the way. And so that's what got me here, right? Like following my passion, what I think is a divine calling, right? Like I have skills, talents, compassion to contribute. I'm always going to be trying to do that, making contributions that like lead to positive impact in the community that I'm in. And so that's what got me here. That's what I'd say.
How did you find your way to Springfield, starting out in Buffalo, New York?
Yeah, I love this question. So I have people call it a bucket list. I do not call it that. I call it a things to do in life list. And leaving Buffalo almost proving to myself that I could, right, was on my list. That coupled with a new relationship that I guess it worked out because now I'm married and we have a child together, brought me specifically to Springfield. David is also not from the area, but he moved here for a job at Springfield College.
So you talked about how you had you follow a lot of leaders like, as mentors. What are some things that you learned from those leaders that you want to take away from yourself, but you also implement it as well?
I think the first thing that is coming to my mind is like to stand in the truth of who I am and all that I have, and to not shy away from the power of that. To not shy away from, I'll say, the brilliance of that, right? Because the Creator puts divine light into each and every one of us, and it's up to us to share that light. That took me a while, though, right? That took me a while to really stand in that. I think the other thing is to fail up, to fail forward, not to be afraid of the failure, right? Because there's lessons in all of that. And probably my most recent one is everything's figure outable, right? Like you just have to have the conversation. You just have to see the hard, true facts, and you can figure out how to approach anything. I think the thing that I would also add that I am coming into now is like holistic well-being. Because of the work of nonprofit, I'm an all or nothing, right? So I'm all in to this work that I'm doing. And so it's important to also pour into myself just as much as I pour into the work. And so that looks like self-care. It looks like balance. It looks tangibly having working days and then meeting days so that I'm not always just pouring out, right? So those are the things that I would say and answer.
So for somebody that would want to get into nonprofit work like myself, how would I be able to do that?
I think it starts with a good core knowing of your vision. I think and then finding a way to, is it something that already exists? Then how do I plug into it, right? If it's something that's innovative and new and it doesn't exist, how do I like rally folks around this idea? And then obviously, I feel like the rest is like businessy, right? Like, how do I get established? How do I get the right network for nonprofit work? What are the sort of the structures in place? What is going to be your team? Is it going to be a traditional professional team? And is it going to have a board of directors? Asking yourself, what is the feeling that, because I do believe that is essential, right? What is the feeling, the essence of the nonprofit that you want to be a part of or create?
So you talked about how when you were younger, you were always into the social justice of things. So how were you able to take that passion and end up where you are as being a part of a nonprofit that helps with that type of stuff in the community that you're in right now?
Yeah, I love that question. I think it's just staying true, right? Staying true to who I am. So for example, if I look back, if I were to pull out a resume right now, like you could look at the causes that I was attracted to and drawn to make a difference in, and they're all have the undercurrent of access, equity, social justice, right? Whether it be helping and advocating for women or girls, mothers, fair housing, civil rights, right? All of that is, for me, like connected, interconnected. And it's connected in a way that is the essence of Shannon, right? So I've stayed true. I've got like really clear about who I am and what my boundaries are, both personal and professional, and staying true to looking for opportunities in nonprofit worlds that I could actually be an asset.
What has been your favorite experience in your past 2 years of working here?
Oh my goodness. Learning about the richness of our legacy, really getting to honor the people that have laid the foundation, and then hearing the stories of impact that MLK Family Services have had. I can be in a grocery store, Michael, and I just hear stories about the they went on the HBCU college tour, and it's like totally changed their trajectory and exposed them to just a different world. I can hear how this was their first job and they stayed for 15 years and now they're leading different programs in our community. And that never gets old. I love to hear how the impact of the work has such an influence in the leaders of our city, of our region.
So let's say when you're negotiating with other businesses or other nonprofits, whether it's for trying to get a sponsorship or you're trying to have a partnership with somebody, how are you going about your negotiation when you're trying to find a contract that works for you?
Yeah, I love that question too. So everything is purposeful. I do not believe that. I feel like we have to have full alignment. First, in mission. What are we standing for in our community? I think second, in approach, because I think when we talk about, for me, equity access, it's all about the approach to things. And so I think that for me, having a purposeful partnership is all about connecting on those two fronts. If not, then I can just let somebody know that this is an entity that's over here that is available to the general public. But I think real partnership comes from like, how are we coming together to have collective action for good in our community?
Okay, so going farther, let's say you might not align. How do you go on from declining that type of deal?
So I believe in blessing and releasing. I really do. I think that for me, it has to be aligned, right? Like I think about our various levels of stakeholders, and I get very protective around what is going to actually uplift and not harm. Because I think about our people, we're coming to this work in a time where it might be hard to ask for help. So we're not going to perpetuate that. We're going to say, no, I needed help too. So for me, if the alignment is not there, it's okay. It's okay. And I'm fine to bless and release that opportunity.
So let's talk about some of the awards on your wall right here. So let's first talk about the 40 under 40. What was that like getting that award?
So I got that at a time when I had only been here for 2 years. So for me, again, and it was my first time ever stepping into executive director role. So I was like comfortable playing that like second person behind the scene. And so I've always been about like doing the work. And so that was a total shock because I'm thinking, first of all, who the heck knows me here at Western Mass that I'm actually relevant to making a difference? And it was a real honor to know that like I was staying true to myself, just doing the work, head down, and that not only was I being seen in the essence of who I am, but that the organization was actually making an impact in the lives of those around me too.
So in your second year of being in the Western Mass, you got an award that shows you that you are actually making an impact. So how did that feel to know that just in 2 years, you made a big enough impact to get an award?
I give honor to those that have invested in me. And I think it affirmed that I was on the right path to making a difference. This past year, in my first year here at MLK, I was recognized as a difference maker. That too was like, again, it was, wait a minute, I've only been here for this short amount of time. And I just counted it as a blessing, as an affirmation, and as a nudging for me from God that's saying, keep on the path, that people need the work that I'm contributing. And so I'm just happy to be playing my part and being of service in that way.
So you talked about when you got the award, you weren't really thinking about it, but you were just grinding every day, making sure that you were improving and getting the work done you needed to. So what did a day-to-day look like for you?
Listen, it's different all the time. And I could stand to be a little bit more intentional about my time too. But I think for me, because I've been intentional about being like aligned with the mission, it feeds me, right? And so day to day it's just different, right? So like one time I could be having steady meetings around a particular project that's afoot. And always it's about checking in with the team, making sure that they feel connected, they are in the know of what is happening, because for me, I think that we are all bosses. I'm blessed to be on a team with like amazing, brilliant members that are equally as dedicated. And so for me, it's about making sure that we're all connected. We know the information. So it might be meetings, it might be telephone calls, it might be a series of emails, just sharing out information, and always just trying to amplify the good work of the organization, so that folks, A, know that we're here to be of service, and that B, people know that they can contribute, whether it's like joining a board or joining a committee or making a donation, to make sure that we're all interconnected in our community.
So you talked about having a great team around you. So for someone like myself, first start off my business, what are some things that I should be looking for to making sure that I'm finding people that are good team members?
So I think alignment and dedication to the mission, to your vision. I also really think that knowing yourself and your strengths, and then putting people around you that are differently like brilliant. So I need people that, like, I don't know, for me, it's like I have a vision for something, but I need people that like can say, okay, let me take that vision and implement it. Not to say that I can't do it, but like they might get it done quicker, right? They may have different skills. I always say, nope, that's not my calling, right? My brain is not wired to necessarily do the marketing piece of things. Even though I've done fundraising, I need extra capacity, like a partner in the fundraising, right? So I think getting really clear about what your strengths are and what other additional strengths are necessary to fulfill and propel your vision and mission, and then building your team with people that have those skill sets and drive.
Knowing what you know now, what is some advice that you would give to your 18-year-old self?
I think that I would tell my 18-year-old self to breathe, to trust and honor and celebrate the process, to stand fully in my knowing, my passion, my brilliance.
How were you able to do that?
And so I'm a work in progress, but I am more intentional about doing that. I also really recognize that the responsibility of the role of this particular role of CEO is to model that to those around me. When I say that I'm modeling it, it's okay. If I'm taking off, if I'm on vacation, I'm going to model what that looks like so that you too can unplug and disconnect and replenish yourself. So, yeah.
So what would it look like for you to, like you said, unplug or go on vacation to a point where somebody in your team is like, it's okay to unplug sometimes and not have to be so much focused on work 24/7?
Yeah, that's good. So I think total trust. I think it's total trust, but I also think it's setting, like, for us, it's really important that we have collective understanding of our priorities for the year, for example, breaking it down by quarters, right? So like now we all understand, here's how we're each contributing to this thing, and building in the time for that. And so in building in that time, I'm going to make sure that I get things done or have a plan for how to get things done, so that when I take my week or however many days off, that's also included in the plan. But also that there's total trust and alignment with, okay, if a decision is required while I'm away, I know that the team is aligned with me, that they're going to make the right necessary decision in my absence.
So so how are you able to have the point to where you're building trust with your team so that they will make decisions that also align with the team without you having to be there?
Yeah, I think it's just constant team building. Right. And I don't mean just let's go do this ropes course, but I think it's constant conversations around what our goal is, what our plan is, how we're actually implementing, what does success look like, right? And so it's just constantly like having those conversations. And so we build in like series of meetings, right? The admin team will meet the first Wednesday of the month. The management team is meeting the second Wednesday of the month. All of that feeds then into the board meeting at the end of the month, and how then we report out internally, whether it be email or newsletter, like here's where we are with things. We're in a strategic planning process right now. And it's really important for me that every level of our team, whether it be professional team members. So what I mean by that is like the staff, or volunteers who come to support the pantry every week, or board members, right? Every level of the stakeholders that are actually what I call the magic makers of MLK Family Services has input, that we are not leaving out any voice or perspective. And what that does in turn for me is they're all bought in, right? This is their organization. It's not, yep, I might have the title of president and CEO, but this is our collective work, our collective impact. And at the end of the day, that's the empire. Like, we're building that, right? So everybody is invested in making sure that you're operating at this level of excellence. We pass that into our youth too, right? Like, we have what we call dream bucks here as an incentive. And if you come for a tour, like our director of youth will say, they don't earn dream bucks because of like behavior, because the expectation is already that you're gonna thrive and show up as your best self. You earn it for like character building things, right? Like, you showed integrity, you showed compassion, you showed empathy, right? And so we're already showing up as our full excellent selves because this organization is ours. It's not just a CEO at the top that's leading.
So in my book, I Am a CEO, Realistic CEO, Tony, he talks about the LBW, the long, lonely, boring work. So can you tell us about the LBW that you have to do on a day-to-day in your position?
I'm biased. Like, a lot of the work, even though it could feel arduous, is not boring to me. Right? I might labor and be like, oh, I gotta write this thing. But like, when I get going, it's not boring. It completely fuels me. So I just think sometimes I have to like shut myself off. I have to give myself like, all right, Shannon, you're only gonna be here doing this work for 30 minutes because I can get lost in it. So I don't know that I have a boring part. Some things can be tedious if you're doing grant writing or grant reporting, but I even get excited about that because then that's an opportunity for us to be like, listen, you invested in us and this is what we did with it. This is how it really showed impact. So I don't know if I have that LBW.
Okay, so let's go. How can somebody get to a point where they're in a career that they're so passionate that even the long, lonely, boring work is fun to them?
I think it's alignment, right? Like, I think that it's getting real with yourself. Intentions. I think it's getting real with yourself about what's going to feed you, the person, and how I tie into that mission.
So when you, like you said, you always knew that you wanted to do something with social justice and from a young age, what was it about the social justice aspect of life that you knew that's something that you really enjoyed to do?
So for me, I knew we're in America, where race is a social construct. There is have and have nots. And that was always just wrong for me. It's always been my core mission to amplify or even give voice to folks that are silenced just by virtue of a family that they were born into or a neighborhood that they were born into, right? So for me, social justice is a way of living. And I'm just fortunate enough that I've been intentional about finding the missions and the organizations that also propel that good work. And so I feel like it's alignment, intentional alignment.
So, like you said, alignment for when you're trying to find your passion, alignment for you. What is it about alignment that is so important and driven you to where you are today?
Listen, I cannot be a widget person, right? Like, I knew that I could not just go and show up. I am passion filled. And so if I'm not doing work where I feel like fueled by my passion, it's a death for me.
Another thing, you talked about how sometimes you got to just stop because how much you just exciting, you're always getting into your work. So how are you able to just shut everything down and just be like, yeah, this is enough. I got to step away.
I build in the time because, quite honestly, if I don't, I will keep going. I also think that surrounding yourself with like people that love and care about you, the person, not you, the CEO, is really have been powerful for me. I have my family that say, you know what I want this year? more of your time. And so that's in my head because they're important to me. This work is also fueling me, but this relationship is important to me. And so for me, I have to be intentional about it. And so I will build in that time to make sure that I'm shutting down and pivoting hard to be at family dinner with my family, be at family vacations, or play with my kids, put a puzzle together, and really spend some time hearing what's going on with the people that are also important in my life.
So you talked about a way is by trusting the people in your life. So how are you able to make sure that you are trusting the right people when it comes to expressing how you feel and what you really like, the advice that you really are believing in and taking in?
That's a good question. How am I trusting the right people? I think that you got to create quiet, self-reflective moment where you are interrogating what your goal is and how the advice that's being given to you aligns or propels your vision and the direction that you're going into. And then I think you have to be self-reflective enough to get your own, whatever, ego, rigid, whatever, out of the way to actually hear a different perspective, but to unpack it in a way that really illuminates opportunity and possibility.
So let's say there's somebody that has been negative towards you or even yourself. How are you able to get over those negativity thoughts? Yeah.
All up in my business. So I do think that there is an inner saboteur. We all have an inner saboteur that wants to negate or shut us down. And I just think that there's the story of two wolves. And so are you feeding the wolf that is fueling you and creating positive experience and imagery and sending you on that path? Or are you feeding the wolf that is going to perpetuate the negative self-talk and the thinking? And so getting quiet enough to ask that hard question has been really important. I just posted recently to my Instagram, I don't want to be inspired by fear. And so it's how do I overcome that? I overcome it by having that quiet time where I get real with myself and say, am I afraid to do this? And so what is that fear about? Is the fear protecting me or is the fear hindering me? And if it's hindering me, then we just have to have that internal dialogue that says, I recognize you and we're going forward.
One of my biggest things I've been struggling with is sales online in particular. In person, I can do pretty well. But when it comes to online, I don't really convert as much when it comes to face-to-face interaction. So how can I improve on online sales?
People react to people, connect to people. So let people feel you. You are the realistic CEO. You are relatable. And so for me, I would just tell you, let people feel you. Have opportunities where you are talking about what inspired you, how you overcame it, because you are an inspiration. And so let them feel all of who you are. Unpack that for them. That's what I would suggest.
I just got one last question. What's one fun fact about yourself that nobody really knows?
I am an adventure seeker and I can't wait for my next adventure. So I think back to when I felt the most exhilarated, and it's times when I've done skydiving or I've planned something crazy and cool. I just think that sets my inner kid aflame. And so that would be a fun fact.
So what has been your favorite adventurous thing that you've done?
I would say skydiving.
Skydiving, how was that? I've never been.
It's amazing. You're free falling until they pull that parachute. And so you talk about trust. I'm trusted that this guy that I'm in tandem with is going to pull it at the right time. But it's just exhilarating. It's very liberating. Yeah. So I highly recommend it.
I might try it right now. So thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Thank you. Appreciate you for coming on. I learned so much. And even before the conversation that we had before the podcast, I appreciate that as well. So I just want to thank you again. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate all the support that you have shown, not only on the podcast, but also on the social media posts. ways that you all can support even more is by going on to realisticceo.com and ordering a copy of Realistic CEO for yourself, your grandchild, your kid. Anybody can really read that book. It's a great book. And the main reason why I say it's a great book is because it's very inspiring, not only to the youth, but also to the adults that are reading the books to the kids as well, which is why it's very important to me. Like, for example, about 2 weeks ago, I had a teacher actually share a story about how she read the book to her class. And not only like right after like she read the book, she already had a student wanting to start a nail salon, and she was practicing by working on her teacher's nails. So I thought that was a pretty cool story to share. And not only for every book that you order, do you get to enjoy it, but also we have a one-to-one program. So for every book that you order, we match and donate the book to somebody in lower to moderate income communities. Thank you for watching this episode of the Realistic CEO podcast. See you in the next one. Peace.